In this video, we're going to go ahead and solve a couple more right triangles. So you should be practicing these on your own and really just checking back here if you're not getting the solutions correct. So here we have an angle, a side, and the 90-degree angle given. It's a right triangle, so we can use all of our trigonometric properties and ratios. And we can use Pythagorean theorem, and the sum of the angles is 180. So let's go ahead then. We can start by finding angle C. We know the sum of all the angles is 180. So 180 minus 47 minus the 90 leaves us with 43 degrees for angle C. So there's our first unknown. Now we also need to find side R and side B. Remember, lowercase letters for the sides. So let's say we're going to do R. R is called the hypotenuse because it's across from the 90. And we'll use angle B since we're given B. So we know adjacent here and hypotenuse. Adjacent and hypotenuse tell me that cosine of B is going to be adjacent, which is 8.0 over hypotenuse, which is R. We know B is 47 degrees, so we cross multiply and solve. We get R is going to equal 8 divided by the cosine of 47. And we'll move to our calculator to do that then. So 8 divided by the cosine of 47, and we'll just check to make sure we're in degree mode, and we are. Go back. 8 over cosine 47 is 11.7, and we're dealing with two significant digits, so we'll call that 12. So we have R is 12. We know that C over here is 8. Once we have two sides, the final side, in this case B squared, is going to be the hypotenuse squared minus the other leg squared. So that in this case is 8 squared. So B squared equals 12 squared minus 8 squared. So B is going to be the square root of 144 minus 64. And again, if we move to our calculator, the square root 144 minus 64, we find that that's 8.9, rounded to two significant digits. And if we just do a quick check, here we have 47, across from it is 8.9. Here we have 43, so this is the smallest angle. Across from it is 8, that's the smallest side. Largest angle is 90, across from it, the hypotenuse, 12, is the largest side. So that makes sense. So our answer is correct. We'll move to the next example now. Here we're given, again, two angles and a side. So we'll start by finding angle L. It's going to be 180 minus 65 minus 90. So angle L is going to be 25 degrees. Now we can work with T here. Angle T is 65. Across from it is called opposite, so we know opposite. This would be the hypotenuse. So to find the hypotenuse A, we're going to say the sine of 65 is going to be opposite. That's 32.0 divided by A. Cross multiply, we get A times the sine of 65 is 32. And if we solve that, we get 32 over the sine of 65. Moving to our calculator then, 32 over the sine of 65, and we'll use three significant digits. That's 35.3. We know two sides. We can use Pythagorean theorem to solve the third side. So this is L over here, lowercase l. We'll write it a different way this time. The hypotenuse squared equals the two legs squared, so L squared plus T squared. We solve for L, we're going to get the square root of A squared, so 35.3 squared, minus, remember the T comes over, 32.0 squared. And we move to our calculator to find the answer. So the square root of 35.3 squared minus 32.0 squared and that gives us 14.9. So that's 14.9 to 3 significant digits. So if we just write our pieces here, 14.9, this one's 35.3, and this was 25 degrees. And quickly check, smallest angle, opposite the smallest side, so that makes sense. 90 degrees is our biggest angle, opposite the hypotenuse then, and that is our biggest side. So again, the triangle makes sense. So there's those answers. Example C then, we'll continue. Same procedure, so we're just going to go ahead and work out then. S is 180 minus 90 minus 31. So that gives us 59 degrees. Let's say this time we know the hypotenuse, so if we want to find S first, right here, we know this one. This is adjacent. This is the hypotenuse down here, because it's across from the 90. So the cosine of 31 degrees is going to be S over 19.0. Cross multiply, and S is going to be 19.0 times the cosine of 31. So S is going to be 19 multiplied by the cosine of 31. That gives us 16.3. We know S. We can use Pythagorean theorem to find W, but this time we're going to use trigonometry to find W again. So using again 31, this is opposite. We know the hypotenuse is still here, so now the sine of 31 is opposite. That's W over hypotenuse, which is 19. So 19 times the sine of 31 is equal to W, which tells me that W then has to be 19 sine 31, and that's 9.79 to 3 significant digits. And again, our smallest angle is 31. Our smallest side is opposite that. Largest angle, largest side, so that makes sense. And so we have our solution. The final example then for this video. This time we're given only one angle and two sides, so we're going to start by using the two sides to find an angle. So let's say we want to find angle X first. This side here would be called the adjacent side. This side here is the hypotenuse because it's across from the 90. To find the angle then, adjacent and hypotenuse means the cosine of X is going to equal adjacent over hypotenuse. So angle X then is going to be the cosine inverse of 24 over 35. And we move to our calculator. Shift cosine of 24 over 35 is 46.7 degrees. We have two significant digits, so we'll say 47 degrees. To find the side that's missing, we can use Pythagorean theorem. So we call this side X. X is going to equal the square root of the hypotenuse squared minus one of the legs squared. So we take the square root then of 35 squared minus 24 squared, and that tells us the answer is 25, rounded to two significant digits. And we're still missing an angle. Angle Z, well, we know two angles, so we just take those and subtract from 180. So minus 47 leaves us with angle Z at 43 degrees. So smallest angle is angle Z, smallest side, side Z. Biggest angle, 90, biggest side, 35. So our angles and sides line up correctly, so our answer is making sense. I'll stop the video there. We'll finish the last three examples in a future video. Hopefully you've done all these, you can get the right answers. If you're having problems, make sure you get some help, and we'll see you in the next lesson.